Hello, good evening, Sitaram, Namaste. Continue reading today. The Bear and the Travelers. Two travelers were on the road together when a bear suddenly appeared on the scene. Before he observed them, one made for a tree at the side of the road and climbed up into the branches and hid there. The other was not so nimble as his companion, and as he could not escape, he threw himself on the ground and pretended to be dead. The bear came up and sniffed all around him, but he kept perfectly still and held his breath, for they say that a bear will not touch a dead body. The bear took him for a corpse and went away. When the coast was clear, the traveler in the tree came down and asked the other what it was the bear had whispered to him when he put his mouth to his ear. The other replied, "He said to me, never again to travel with a friend who deserts you at the first sign of danger." Misfortune tests the sincerity of friendship. The Slave and the Lion. And this may be the historical figure Androcles. A slave ran away from his master, by whom he had been most cruelly treated, and in order to avoid capture betook himself into the desert. As he wandered about in search of food and shelter, he came to a cave, which he entered and found to be unoccupied. Really, however, it was a lion's den, and almost immediately, to the horror of the wretched fugitive, the lion himself appeared. The man gave himself up for lost, but to his utter astonishment, the lion, instead of springing upon him and devouring him, came and fawned upon him, at the same time whining and lifting up his paw. Observing it to be much swollen and inflamed, he examined it and found a large thorn embedded in the ball of the foot. He accordingly removed it and dressed the wound as well as he could, and in course of time it healed up completely. Of course, the lion's gratitude was unbounded. He looked upon the man as his friend, and they shared the cave for some time together. A day came, however, when the slave began to long for the society of his fellow men, and bade farewell to the lion and returned to the town. Here he was presently recognized and carried off in chains to his former master, who resolved to make an example of him, in order that he should be thrown to the beast at the next public spectacle in the theater. On the fateful day, the beasts were loosed into the arena, and among the rest a lion of huge bulk and ferocious aspect. And then the wretched slave was cast in among them. What was the amazement of the spectacle when the lion at once glance bounded up to him and lay down at his feet with every expression and delight. It was his old friend of the cave. The audience clamored that the slave's life be spared, and the governor of the town, marveling at such gratitude and fidelity in a beast, decreed that both should receive their liberty. Have a great night.